Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Lee Price, and I'm going to do a tool review over the Adobe Illustrator program. Now those of you who are familiar with the Adobe Suite know that Illustrator is their vector program, allowing users to create clean vector images that aren't affected by scaling whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get started. Now Illustrator, just like the other Adobe programs, you just go ahead and make a new document. In the new document window you can see we have some pretty familiar settings, orientation, units. For this I'm just going to go with a regular 11 by 11. So the workplace, pretty simple. We've got your toolbar over here. I do have some defaults set up here, so some of my tools will be a little bit different than your starting workplace. Uh, but such as if you want to draw shapes, we have the shape tool, pretty commonly used. You can go ahead and just drag a shape like that. So there we have a basic circle. Go ahead and give it a fill over here with our colors. Um, Over here we do have our layers panel. So right now I'm working on layer number 1. Now Illustrator is kind of interesting in that inside of its layers there are more layers. So let's say I wanted to make a red circle right on top of this one here. I can do that. Just go ahead and place that right over the center. However, it's on the same layer. If I wanted the black circle to be in front, I can still go ahead and object, arrange, and send it to the back. So now that red circle disappeared, even though it's still there. Now if I wanted it to be on a totally different layer, I just went ahead and cut that, made a new layer, and I can go ahead and paste that right on top. So now the black circle will be on a layer above the red circle. Anytime in the layers panel, if you want to go ahead and readjust, you can go ahead and move them back and forth. So now the black circle will be on the bottom. I move the red circle in front. We now have a stack here. So everything has a stack in each layer, and also the layers panel itself is a stack. Some of the other tools, the basic selection tool is the black arrow that's used to select entire objects, move around large pieces of artwork. The direct selection tool is primarily focused on getting into your artwork and editing it. So there you can see I selected this anchor point. Now I can change my triangle to be various different shapes and sizes. Another thing you can do with that is if you really get into it, you can make it a curve by clicking these radius. Dragging it downwards increases the radius, so you can get nice curved, clean edges that we like in vector art. Some of the perhaps lesser known features of this program, some that I really use all the time. So let's say you wanted to make a donut out of this. So you have your black circle and your red circle, and you wanted them to be, you wanted to basically cut out the red circle. What you can do is select both of them. You can group them, first off, so they're on the same layer, using the Pathfinder tool, which will be found under Window, Pathfinder right here. I already have it checked, so it's already brought up. I can go ahead and use this merge button here. So with my shape selected, I can merge them. Now you can see the red disappeared. They're all one shape now. Now another tool I haven't explained yet, the magic wand tool. If you click on anything red, see how it's selected all of these shapes here? So now everything red is selected. That's a good use of the magic wand. However, if I just want to select this shape, I just double clicked on it, went into isolation mode. So now I can work on it individually. If I click on the red here, even if I use the magic wand tool here, you can see that it did not select my other shapes, only selected that red shape. So I can go ahead and click it, just hit the backspace key, it's gone, double click anywhere else to get out of isolation mode, and now you can see we have our donut here, completely vectorized. So you can see it, for example, if I zoom in just using Control and plus right on this edge, it maintains every bit of quality, even at zoomed in 8,500 times. So that's a really cool feature of Illustrator, is the some of those Pathfinder tools. Okay, there's one other tool I'd like to explain to you guys, which is the ability for Illustrator to convert raster images into vector art, which is pretty cool. So I've got these couple of simple images open here. So let's say you've drawn this really cool object in Photoshop, however, it's the wrong size and you want to make it scalable. So let's say we have this car here. So all you have to do is go File, Place. To embed your images, you just search for them. I've already embedded these. Um, and as you can see, it has this big X around it, which means it is not a vector image, it's a raster image. All you have to do is click here, and it brings us up some icons. So this is for image tracing. Now if you just go ahead and click image trace, it'll just go ahead and guess what the best one for you, and this is pretty commonly the correct one. So as you can see here, we've got a really high quality trace. Now if I undo that, hit this little down arrow right next to it, it brings up this drop-down menu. So for this one, let's say we don't want these gray lines in the background. We can just go ahead and hit silhouette, and now we have a fully black image. None of those little gray lines anymore. Then once we want to make it editable, we just go ahead and click the expand button right up here, and now you can see we have our anchor points are created. So we can go in with even our direct selection tool. Let's say we want to change it a little bit. We can each point is fully editable. So it works well with black and white. We can also do it with full color. So here is a little image of a car. If I go to image trace, let's see, this looks like a 3-color image. Let's say we don't want anything else. We can go 3 colors. So that kind of got rid of our yellow there. So let's say we don't like that. Bump it up to 6 colors, and there we go. Now we have our vectorized image. Go ahead and expand that. And the way it works is kind of like cookie cutter slices. So if you click on this one here, I can just go ahead and drag it off the top. Now we no longer have that. It'll even work with images, like here's a picture of Tony Stark here. If we go ahead and try the high fidelity photo trace, you can see Illustrator doesn't really work too well, but that's vector now, so we can go ahead and expand that. You can see all the shapes it just created there. And if we zoom in on it, you can really start to see them. All these little tiny shapes have made Tony's face into. But when you zoom out, it looks pretty decent. So you can even make photographs into vector art that way. So thank you for watching. Remember to save the work, and yeah, Adobe Illustrator is a really great program to use for anything vector art.